We are back for our midweek NFL DFS update, and we are adjusting our core from yesterday based on ownership movement, matchup grades, and the latest headlines, quarterback. We are moving back to Jalen Hurts at salary 6,800 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 21 against Kansas City, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 29. Yesterday, we leaned into Lamar for leverage, but the midweek ownership settled with Hurts around 19.87%. Not the runaway chalk we feared, and the matchup edge is simply stronger here for the price. Hurts has 24 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 8, 33, and 18. And that 8 is much easier to forgive after the lightning delay that interrupted the Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts opener per Essentially Sports, which derailed rhythm and drives week 2. Quarterback rankings pieces also kept Hurts near the top, and local coverage noted Eagles fans should be very excited about his week 1 tape. His projection is reliable, given his long starting sample, and we like the paydown versus the other elites while still capturing rushing and red zone paths to a ceiling. Running back. We are elevating Breece Hall to our top back at salary 6,200 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 14 against Buffalo, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31. This is a change from yesterday's Christian McCaffrey stance because Hall's midweek ownership is just 2.3%, giving us elite leverage for a back sitting at 20 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 20, 6, and 14. The Inside the Lines Best Bets piece tagged running back props this week, and League Chatter continues to label Hall a superstar, including the Cowboys rumor mill, which underscores the talent thesis. We get a favorable overall matchup, strong touchdown equity, and a salary that opens the door to premium stacks without sacrificing ceiling wide receiver. We are pivoting our top wideout to CeeDee Lamb at salary 7,800 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 18 against the Giants, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 25. This is a move from yesterday's Malik Neighbors volatility play to a more bankable alpha with tournament-winning ceiling and moderate ownership at 8.2%. Lamb's recent line of 11, 21, and 30 underscores both floor and spikeability, and the opener storylines about drops, per the national recaps, make him a classic bounce-back target in a soft matchup. We prefer his combination of role and opponent grade in this range, and the price pairs cleanly with Hurts at quarterback tight end. We are rotating from Sam Laporta to Hunter Henry at salary 4,000 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 8 against Miami, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 28. This is a pricing and leverage decision, supported by the Sportsline tight end prop feature that highlighted Henry among its early week targets, and his ownership sits at 6.63%. He is at 11 fantasy points per game with recent scores of 11, 0, and 14, and his red zone involvement keeps the ceiling intact at this tag. The savings help us reach our preferred stacks without giving up. Touchdown equity flex. We are moving from James Conner to Garrett Wilson at salary 6,500 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 14 against Buffalo, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31. Wilson's ownership of 5.57% and recent scores of 23, 19, and 11 fit the tournament profile we want in this matchup, and the Jets' offense remains highly concentrated. The mock trade chatter about adding a reliable number 2 behind Wilson reinforces that he commands primary defensive attention and volume. And in this spot, we are betting talent plus matchup at modest ownership defense and special teams. We are pivoting from Miami to the Cardinals' defense at salary 3,400 with a dash rank of 100 and a projection of 6 against Carolina, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 28. Arizona's recent fantasy results of 5, 4, and negative one-show volatility. We accept for ceiling, and ownership is a manageable 6.67%. At this price, we are targeting sack and turnover paths and leveraging a softer overall opponent grade. Quick value notes: Anthony Richardson at salary 4,700 projects for 1 point with Denver on deck, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 1, and he will be 0% owned. The projection is unreliable given his limited starts and the rocky start to his career per multiple reports, but his dual threat background and the expectation he returns from a shoulder setback make him a large field dart only where you are embracing variance. Kyle Juszczyk, at salary 4,000, carries a dash rank of 100 and a 3-point projection against New Orleans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 17. He is 0% owned and remains an ultra-contrarian salary saver whose role creates a fragile floor. But he has flashed occasional touchdown paths with recent scores of 5, 8, and 4. Tyler Johnson at salary 3,200 owns a dash rank of 81 and a 4-point projection against Buffalo, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31, essentially 0% owned, with 5, 0, and 0 in recent games. He works as a punt that correlates with a Jets' heavy build around Brees and Garrett if you need the savings. Connor Hayward, at salary 2,500, has a dash rank of 44 and a 1-point projection against Seattle, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 21. He is effectively 0% owned and is a pure punt tight end alternative if you cannot reach Henry, with recent scores of 0, 0, and 2 showing the thin path. Harold Fannin Jr. at salary 3,100 brings a dash rank of 100 and a 7-point projection against Baltimore, who have the absolute worst defense overall with an opponent rank of 32, 0% owned with 14 fantasy points last game. And news around his third-round draft capital and camp buzz suggests a defined role. He is an inexpensive flex who fits value builds. Panthers. Defense at salary 2,300 has a dash rank of 44 and a 4-point projection against Arizona, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 18. Ownership is 1.67%, with recent fantasy scores of 2, -2, and 6, making them a thin but viable salary relief pivot off the Cardinals if you need every dollar. To recap the moves from yesterday, we return to Hurts over Lamar for the stronger opponent grade and acceptable ownership, shifted to Brees Hall for elite leverage at running back, upgraded to CD Lamb for a softer matchup and bounce-back ceiling, swapped to Hunter Henry for salary efficiency and red zone odds, slid Garrett Wilson into flex to attack Buffalo's low opponent rank, and shifted defense to Arizona for pressure plus turnover upside at modest ownership. If late-week news materially changes roles, we will adjust. But as of now, this is the core we are building around for tournaments, and balanced builds alike.